shows our Vati drone is showing the avenue there filling up with people, and as they come closer to the square, then they just go through a check there, and we'll.
And all the flags are ready.
And Thaddeus, because since you've been, this is your third conclave in Rome.
In Rome, yes.
And
Well,
so-
I haven't been a conclave elsewhere. Shine, things warm up here quite a bit, and pretty quickly.
When Pope Francis was elected, I was helping out at an English-speaking parish in Geneva, in addition to my other work. And the pastor had asked me to give a talk to the parents of the First Communion children. And we got the news just as I was ready to start the talk. So I knew tonight I'm not going to get anything else done of this.
Wow, so you've gotten the announcement in different places
Yes,
all around
exactly,
the world.
yes.
No, that's amazing. And every time just a tad different. And
And we have joining us Father Paul Samasumo, who's from Zambia, and he's head of the English Africa section here at Vatican News and the Dicastery for Communication. Father Samasumo, good to have you here. Many of our listeners who listen to the liturgies will recognize your voice as well as you do the commentaries for the papal events. How's this experience for you now?
Thanks, TJ. Actually, I've been here all day, and then I went outside to meet someone. And you won't believe, I got blocked. I could hardly come in. I've been trying to come back for the last 10 minutes. But fortunately, the security forces allowed me when I showed my badge. And people are just running into the square. It's amazing. It's my first conclave. I've never... I came in just after Pope Francis had been elected.
wow.
So this is quite an experience for you.
It
then,
is an
too.
experience for me as well, yeah.
Absolutely.
Amazing. Even just the moments leading up to this experience. I live in a house where some of the cardinals also were staying before they moved to Santa Marta. Of course, they had their own little tables, and sometimes we just provoke them. They had sought secrecy, of course, confidentiality, but it was so wonderful, and the dedication of them going to the congregations, the meetings, and even the non-electors, some of them live there permanently in our house. And we have some of the staff who have been helping. They had to also do the swearing in, so that they would be. Some of them couldn't go because they have small children, and they wanted to stay next to their children. So it has been a great experience, even from that point of view.
Well, and also, since you're from Zambia, how do you think people in Africa, the African continent, are taking this moment? I mean, we have viewers, listeners from all around the world, but your experience in watching the conclave and being prepared for this Habemus Papam moment, like, what do you think is the atmosphere, the environment of people watching in Africa?
It's a great moment. I can tell you already I've received about 5 or 6 calls just within the space of 10 minutes as I was coming in.
Wow.
From some of my colleagues who are in the media. And I think the most, the call that I really enjoyed was from my uncle. My uncle is 82, and usually we talk to him through my aunt because he has a problem of hearing. But he's so excited. So everybody's following. They're following on various channels there, the national television stations, on radio, and so forth. It's a great moment. And knowing Africa, they've always been fascinated by the popes. I remember even from a time when I was a young boy myself in catechism, we used to be taught the anthem, the papal anthem.
Really?
Yeah.
So that was very familiar for you to hear.
Not this one, but there's an old one that was translated in our languages.
Oh, wonderful. Translated in your language?
Yes, yeah.
In your language? Or
Yeah,
languages?
Exactly.
And what are your languages, by the way? Just out of...
Well, I'm from Zambia, and Zambia has 72 languages.
Oh my goodness.
Of which 8 or so are the main ones that's widely spoken. English is the official language so you can get by with that.
Fantastic. And I imagine people tune in even to our live streams, even if it's in Italian, Latin, or with your translation in English. I imagine it's a way to connect people. Tune in the same, even if they don't understand what's being said.
It is, and some directors of some of our Catholic radio stations. I'll give you an example. in Kenya alone, there are about 11 Catholic radio stations.
Wow.
So they've been asking, what time is the smoke? Why are we having the smoke? Yeah.
Well, and it's really interesting now that we have you, Father Paul, in here, because as we heard from Father Bob, we had a message from Gaza, listening
Yes.
there, and then now you hearing messages from all over, and so it's
Exactly.
the wide-reaching effect of this moment, and as the message or the theme that we've seen throughout our conversation has been universality and how this is not just a moment for people here in Rome and not just for Catholics, for people everywhere.
In fact, I'd like to thank people around the globe tuning into our live stream here. Maybe you're watching on a local or a national network, local Catholic radio, wherever you're listening. Thanks for joining us here. We're going to be providing you with all the information we can as we await this historic moment to find out who the new Pope is. And we'll know pretty soon. It's been about about a half hour or so
No,
since the
Close to
smoke.
an hour.
An hour.
An hour?
Because it was around
The
6
time
o'clock,
flies.
Rome
Okay,
time.
There you are.
It was 6:07 or something.
Something like
So
that.
any moment now there. And we see the crowds are coming in to the square, still streaming in, slowly but surely. On the sides there, you can see on the right side and on the left side, after they've gone through the checks there, and then coming into the square. And they can all see things pretty well because there are these big television screens and good high-res ones too
Yeah.
in the square and along the Conciliazione Avenue leading into the square. So many people, they can see just what we're seeing all together here. These same images and coverage. Sometimes there's some text message or some subtitling there and info for them, but they can get a good idea of what's happening even if they're not up close, thanks to the nice new technology we have out there.
Well, and I'm sure, as we all talked about before, and Father Paula, you would also, I'm sure, have experience with this, but using like the screens in the square, us doing this commentary, and you have to imagine that social media is blowing up with this moment,
Oh, yes.
I mean, everyone that's in the square is live streaming, I'm sure, taking videos, taking pictures, and so the news is spreading even faster than it would have 10, 20, 30 years ago.
Exactly. Even just here in Rome, just the streets, the cafes. What I found interesting is, I'm sure you've seen the guys that sell trinkets and stuff.
Sure.
Some of them are from Senegal, from Bangladesh, and so forth. And when the smoke came out, this guy asked me, "Do we have a pope?" And he said, "Do we have a
Do
pope?"
we
I thought most of them are Muslims, but
Sure, sure.
that kind of interest is really very touching, and I found very moving.
Right.
To be honest, yeah.
Absolutely.
I have another story on that. When Pope John Paul II died, I told you I was on my way to Gambia, and I had to go through Senegal. So in Dakar, there was this long line that I was waiting to go in through immigration, and the guard pulled me out and said, the Pope has died. I said, yes, I know. So then he said, you come up to the front. And then he brought me to the
wow.
official, and he said, you must have this father go through now because the Pope has died. And then he told me that he had a chapelet, a rosary from John Paul II because he was part of the police when John Paul II visited Dakar. Next morning, 5 o'clock, I'm back in the line because I have to then fly to Gambia. And again, he came, pulled me out of the line, got me through, is everything okay with you? It was really amazing. But you see, again, what the Pope means to so many people. And he told me he was Muslim, but, it was
Wow.
he was important religious leader.
Right, of course.
Again, I'm sure people around the world now are just tuning in, dropping in and out of this broadcast and other broadcasts to see what we're all waiting for with anticipation of who the new Pope is. And that should be very soon now. And we'll know, of course, not only from the video we have here, but then when the crowds let us know with their cheers and applause.
And it will be we'll all be trying to give you immediately the name of the cardinal, which
Yes.
has now become the Pope. And as I believe, TJ, you mentioned earlier, or no, Father Bob, you mentioned, it will be in Latin. And
Yes.
so we'll all be brushing up on our Latin in between, now and then, so
Yes.
that we will have the name correctly. And then we'll also get to hear the name that the new Pope chooses
Yes.
to be
I
his
think
new...
the name is always also interesting because it kind of gives his vision of what he wants to do with the purpose. Probably not what he wants to do, but what he inspires him. And my father had an anecdote there. I also have one. And when Pope Francis chose the name Francis, one of the Jesuits in Zambia told me, we were so excited because we thought you were
Francis
chosen
Xavier.
Francis Xavier.
Yes. And actually, it was the next morning that Francis clarified that this was Francis of Assisi. So,
Yeah, it's true because a lot of people were
Yes,
trying to
yeah,
guess
sure.
and figure it out.
That's right. When he met with journalists, he explained the origin of the name that he took and why.
Well, and it's special, like you mentioned, Mother Paul, right? So it usually drives their an idea of what the focus might be for the pontificate choosing this special name. And we had mentioned earlier, right, that the person, I think it was Liz that mentioned, the person becomes a new person in that sense. The Pope is a new man because he gets rid of the old name, takes on this new name, and he's no longer just whoever, Cardinal whoever. He's the Pope of the Universal Church, the Pope that is the symbol of the Catholic Church around the world. Not only because, he is known as the Pope, but also because of his white cassock that is widely recognizable.
We're seeing these camera shots. Those big television screens, people know when they're on camera, and so they have their moment of fame,
They're
their few
thrilled.
seconds of fame, waving and greeting everyone there. So it's always kind of fun too. It brings a little involvement and participation for everyone.
And it's good that the authorities, I think they planned this very well. You have screens around the Vatican. So that reduces also the congestion. We have the new square, which has just been redone for the Jubilee year here. So there's another screen there, just outside this building. And people are just sitting out there. They are not rushing to go into the square. So they can see. And maybe they even get a better shot a better view from the screen there. So there are a number of these large screens surrounding the area. And I think it was very good planning on that part.
Yeah, wonderful. In fact, and then even just the organization, I'm always impressed with the crowd organization, how people are led into these areas to assure that they can get in. It might take a little time, but then also how everything has come off so well without a hitch.
Again, it
despite
was
these
almost
big crowds.
prophetic because so much of the reconfiguration of the square and Via della Conciliazione was done for the Jubilee, but it served very well for the funeral and now for the new Pope.
Yeah, the city has done all these
Yes.
works projects also to help traffic flow well through the area. And here we have,
Yes, so it's,
it looked like, let's see here, that was Cardinal Schönborn, was it?
yes, and then
also to
Cardinal, who was the head of the Christian Unity.
that's right,
Yes.
okay.
And you can hear the helicopters. You
Yes.
can hear them in the
Yeah,
square now.
yeah.
So it's getting louder and more apparent that there's people from all over and everyone's getting images of the square.
And I think the security forces trying to
Yes.
keep the peace. And I noticed also they blocked some of the roads leading to so that people are running across the roads. You
Right.
know, so
Got to keep them safe
you
too.
gotta keep them safe, right, Kelsey?
Well, and so one of our colleagues, Lisa Zengarini, she did a lot of research on why we have this tradition of changing the baptismal name of the cardinal into